Yes.
give some information about AI. So hi, Yaron. Thank you for joining today as a speaker, and also for the audience. Thank you for joining us. It's awesome. This topic today. So our aim is to share as much as possible the details of the AI with you all and with our community as well. So today is the seventh of webinar, our webinar, and I would like to introduce talk about a little bit our company and also AI Dive framework. So Himmer Agile is we have been providing transformation services, agility, and AI since 2020. And we started with Agile and have been working with AI for the past 1.5 years. So it's quite intensive for us, this topic, AI transformation currently, because we really keen to show the details, how much is it big and bigger than the technological investment. So currently we are working as a company in Baku, in Europe, and also in Turkey. So our consultants and the trainers is coming from the different countries. We're quite happy to give the consulting service and training service as well. So especially we are really paying attention on the AI transformation, AI projects. So we really know that it's more than a pilot project. So that's why we are trying to cover all the angles of the transformation with the point of view, as you see that on the screen, uh, from the strategical perspective to ethics. And especially we're focusing on the AI, agentic AI operating model, so which is focusing on the organizational transformation, which we need to change some dynamics for AI, of course. And specifically when we work with the agents, when we work with the AI systems, we really need to modify the workflow and also the related elements. So it's really big topic. So whatever we do as a service, that we're supporting this all angles. And from the consulting point of view, we are focusing on the leadership, of course, and the workflow. And we're trying to show the details of the AI native organizations for companies, and of course, implementing agility under of this topic. Also, we are providing solution assessments for AI for the companies. So whatever we work with for the AI, if there is any need technically or for the business side, we have an ecosystem with the partners, so we are able to provide this service as well. In addition to that, we are doing transformation implementation for all the dimensions, with all dimensions, from the beginning to the advanced level. Maybe I can say that because there is no end. So it's a journey. So that's why we really walking through with you, with the companies, with this maturity journey, and showing where the company is and how it's going on. And addition to that, we have training programs for giving awareness of this transformation, and also the details of the transformation specifically, from the leadership to technical point of view, from the data, ethics, integration, or the operating models side. We're giving so many trainings. I think that's all for now, Doğa.
But by the way,
Yeah,
we have a training session on May
no,
15
yeah,
and 16. If anyone interested that session, please contact me via WhatsApp or phone. I will let you know about the details. So
yeah.
the stage is yours, Yaron. If let's try the presentation first.
Can you see my screen?
I think it's coming. Yes.
I, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, we can see my screen. Then let's start. Hello, everybody. Well, first of all, a big thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here and that we can share our story. So my name is Jeroen Kromme. It's a horrible Dutch name. Don't worry if anybody mispronounces it. I don't really care. Also, I must apologize a bit in advance because I'm a little bit sick. So if I'm a bit hard to hear because my nose is a bit full, or if I'm looking for words here and there, my apologies in advance. So my name is Jeroen. I'm head of products and data within Quantico. I'm not really someone that likes to introduce himself with long resumes or whatsoever. So I thought I'd do it a bit different and start to tell you about what I'm not. So first of all, I am a terrible dancer. This is actually a video of my wife. She's a semi-professional dancer. This is a holiday photo of me a couple of years ago. And you can see, and I projected her movements on my body here. But I'm also not a good actor.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon, soothing. And since I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself. So most nights before I go to bed, I will lay 6 strips of bacon out on my George Foreman grill. Then I go to sleep. When I wake up, I plug in the grill. I go back to sleep again. Then I wake up to the smell of crackling bacon.
So I'm also quite a bad actor.
But you have a good coach. Yeah.
Sorry?
You have a good coach, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am a fan of The Office, by the way. But what I wanted to show, I am a good data scientist, and that's a bit what my background is about. I used to be a data scientist, specialized in analyzing speech and text, and that's how I got into AI in customer service. By the way, these videos, I made them 7 years ago or something, 8 years ago, just on my laptop. So that's few years before generative AI came, before ChatGPT or whatever came. I have a bunch of these things. So I also have a video, or actually I have a coffee machine with facial recognition. So when the colleagues go to their coffee machine, it recognizes who you are, and gives you the coffee that you like. I also have a self-driving RC car. So I like these little projects where you can use machine learning or AI to do whatever you like. I'm not alone here with a few of my colleagues. So Judith is here, Richard is here, Sadiq is here. So if you have any questions, you can also just ask them in the chat. Maybe I can see them, or otherwise my colleagues will answer you. But we're from Quantico. We're a Dutch company. We're based in next to one of the biggest harbors in the world. At least I think the biggest harbor in Europe. We provide software for contact centers. We're in the world of CX, and we mainly specialize in solving customer experience in highly regulated markets. So our main customer base is highly regulated markets. Think of fintech, automotive, retail, energy, or utility company as a sector. That's where we specialize in. For today, my goal is mainly to be a bit like a lighthouse in a foggy sea. What do I mean with this? In a market, you hear a lot of people saying AI will revolutionize the CX market. For example, Sam Altman from OpenAI or Satya Nadella, the CEO from Microsoft, they both say that CX will be the main industry that will be impacted by AI, and that AI can be used for everything. But on the other hand, you have the same amount of people that say, yeah, but AI is not far enough. It's not good enough yet. And they're leaving, yeah, what we see, everybody a bit clueless on what the actual opportunities are, what the actual business cases are, and especially on how to start. So I hope that with this presentation today, that I can shine a bit of light on where you can use AI and also where you should not use AI. Yeah, so that will be my main goal for today. We're going to do that in 3 steps. First, I'll share some trends where we see CX is moving towards. We share our perspective on AI and automation. Again, it's our perspective. It's not what everybody thinks, but at least it's our opinion. Also share a bit on why we hate AI maturity models. We'll end with how we advise to navigate via data-driven way through the AI and automation.
Yeah. By the way, let me support you on this. Your perspective is very important on this topic because right now I'm making a document about what agentic AI is not. It's about what it is not. Because lots of people, lots of businesses right now talking about the agentic world, but they don't know even the word meaning of
Exactly.
agentic. That's why your perspective is very important today. Yeah.
Thanks for the addition. And we'll end with some demos. I think that's going to be the most awesome. So let me start with a few of the trends or what we see where the trends are going or where CX is going. If you look at research, there are three, at least in my opinion, three main conclusions from the last couple of years. First one is, well, the cost of labor is increasing. What we see is the Gartner suggested last year that the labor cost is increasing with about 29%, which is huge. And it's also the main cost driver in contact centers. So I think that's an obvious one. Second, what we see is that the customer expectations are rising. I think there's also not a secret. At least Forrester already said 2 years ago that the CX quality is on an all-time low. They did not see any improvement in 2025, and they don't expect any improvement for 2026. So it's a really interesting era I think we're in. But what we also have seen is that in the last 10 years, the introduction of technology only decreased the efficiency, the quality, and the customer satisfaction. So where we see, okay, we should invest in technology, we only see a decrease in satisfaction, quality, and efficiency if we look at the last 10 years. And I hope that today we can share a bit of light on why that is and why how it can be, because I think that should be the main question. So we look at how technology is impacting CX, or at least how we work. Maybe it's a bit broader than CX alone, how we work. Next, what I said before, CX or customer contact is one of the main industries that's being impacted by AI. Another one is software development. And what you see actually now with Claude Code or GitHub Copilot or OpenAI Codex is that individuals start to create their own applications, not using AI, but actually creating their own applications for their own use cases. I know at least that I am doing it, that I'm facing something that I cannot really figure, or that I need a tool for, but I can't find the right tool. So I just go to GitHub Copilot and it makes the tool for me. And I'm a product manager, so I know what to ask, but I think this will become more and more available throughout companies, and everybody starts using it more and more. Actually, also when Cloud Cowork, so Cloud Cowork is the business variant of Cloud Code that came out early January. We saw a drop in the S&P 500 of 25%. And what is this saying? It is saying that they expect, or they were afraid of what they call the SaaS apocalypse. So if everybody is creating their own applications, their own tools for their own toolbox, they won't buy SaaS tools anymore. So the value of all SaaS tools will diminish. That is what it's saying. Another, maybe a step further. So now I'm placing AI next to the level of applications. But if you take it a step further, you can also think of AI actually on the level of operating systems. So instead of you're opening your laptop with Linux or Apple or Windows, you just talk to ChatGPT or Claude Code or whatever to do what you want to do. So instead of having the whole operating system, the AI becomes the operating system. I'm not sure what it is going, if it's going that far, if we will see some parts of this, or in total. I think that's to be seen. But it is an interesting game to play with your mind, right? To just to see where it can go. Another thing that what's now actually a debate in the world of AI research is whether LLMs, the large language models, will become the main, will become good enough for AGI, artificial general intelligence. Artificial general intelligence means that AI is as smart as we humans are. Currently, it's not the case, but or some people claim it is, but a lot of people claim that LLMs have a ceiling, and that ceiling is not high enough to achieve AGI. There are a few people like the head of the ex-head of data science, Jan LeCun from Meta. He's one of the founding fathers of large language models, by the way. He says, yeah, large language models are not good enough. We need world models. And what's the difference? So large, it says so in Word, the language models are on language, they're on interaction, they're on communication between entities. Where he says world models, they actually understand the world. So if you're now using a large language model to create a video of an object that's falling, for example, it's just predicting the pixel. It's not really understanding what the object is. It's also not really understanding how heavy it is and how gravity works. It just tries to predict the next pixel based on all the videos that it has seen before. It does not really understand the world and how the world works. It just understands communication, interaction between entities. Why am I saying this? Is because it's for CX, it is really important, because in CX, we're all about communication. It's all about interaction between individuals. And that is something that LLMs do understand very, very well. And it gets getting better and better and better. So the dead internet theory is another one that I wrote down, is I think very interesting. I think we're now reaching that moment or that point where we don't see the difference anymore between human content or AI content. Sometimes you see, okay, this is definitely AI content because it has no flaws in it, and human content often does have some typos in it or whatever. So the dead internet theory is a point where we are right now, and that point can also happen in the world of CX. So I imagine a point where you as a consumer just talk to your watch, which has a personal assistant in the form of an AI that calls your contact center for or to solve something. So instead of you calling the contact center, your AI personal assistant will call the contact center. And then for the agent, it's hard to understand, am I talking to an agent or to a human or to an AI? I think that is a point that we will reach in the next 2 years. And I think that everything goes faster than we think, but the road to get there is also way longer than we think. And everybody's talking about, is AI a bubble? In my opinion, I think it's not a technical bubble. It could be a financial bubble because the road is longer than we think, and investors are not always known for their patience. So it might be the case that we take a bit more time in order to reach artificial general intelligence before the patience of our investors. But that's, I think, where technology is heading. If we map that on CX, I see a few things happening. I think that the seamless transfer between all parties should be a no-brainer. That you always need to be able to hand over from a human to an AI or the other way around. What I also see is a exponentially increase in technology. First, because what we currently are seeing in the world is people are adding more and more SaaS applications. So the technological landscape, the architectural landscape of an organization is becoming ever increasing. And especially in highly regulated markets or markets with a lot of backend systems, it gets harder and harder and harder. But as we are at a point where individuals will create their own applications, their own tools using AI, then we get a massive amount of points where we need to integrate with. So I think that the technological complexity will become ever increasing. If we are starting to use more AI, I think there will also be a counter movement where people or companies say will claim that the human touch becomes a USP. And I think that's a very important one, and we'll get to that also later. We have one, I think, a customer that's a very good example for this. They say, okay, our humans, our agents, they are our USP. We're not going to replace them. But nevertheless, I do want AI agents, but I want them in outside office hours so that I can offer my customers, let's say, we can solve your inquiry right now with an AI, or we can schedule a callback for tomorrow and we'll call you back. And then you get a human on the line. So they are still claiming their AI or their humans are their USP. They're not going to replace them, but they do want to offer a broader offering to their customers. What I also see is, well, the call for privacy will become more important. Just 2-3 weeks ago, we had a huge hack in the Netherlands where a lot of data, including BSN numbers or social IDs, telephone numbers, banking records, just got on the streets of a major telecom company here in the Netherlands. That will also happen via AI in the next year. So the call for governance will also increase. And I will come to that also later, but the requirements we ask to AI are higher than we ask for human agents, and that's a very interesting trend that we see. But it's also it should also be like that. Furthermore, what we see is that roles will change. So the more AI agents will come, the more normal agents will transform more towards supervisors or the trained digital agents. That's what I expect. And seeing that the technological landscape becomes more complex, I think that managers or contact center managers will require more IT focus in their daily operations. A final thing that for the roles, it's something that we call the user adoption paradox. What we see in practice is that there are always agents that say that are afraid that AI will take over their job, even if that's not the case or if it's not the goal of the company. They are afraid AI will take over my job, therefore I am not going to use it. I'm going to reject using it. Those are also the people that cannot keep up with the people that are using it. And because people that are using it show better quality, show higher effectiveness, show lower average handling time, show higher customer satisfaction, they are compared with the people that don't use it. And therefore, the people that don't use AI become lag behind, and then they will lose their jobs earlier than the people that are using AI. So we see that the more people, the better your agents are adopting AI, the more likely they will succeed. Yeah, so that's a bit on what we see in the world of CX. But if we're talking about customer contact, if we dissect like a customer inquiry, so a call comes in, about 20% of all calls, this is very general, I'm not talking about specific industries, but if we're talking about all industries, we see that about 20% of all the calls can be answered by just a knowledge base. So like, for example, what are your opening times? It's a very open one. Or can you tell me a bit about this product? Another 40% can be answered by context of the customer. So let's say a customer comes with a question. is this covered by my insurance policy? Then you need to know which insurance policy that individual has. The last 40%, then you actually need to perform tasks. You need to do something in backend systems in order to help the customer. It's like changing an address, and doing returning a product, changing a contract. You need to do something. Our goal as Quantico, or our mission, is to be able to replace or assist 100% of the conversations. Therefore, these three are leading, or the three leading pillars in everything that we do, basically. And if we're talking about, so what I want to make a very great distinction is the conversation and the action, and both currently done by the human agent. But I want to make a clear distinction between the two, because both can be either done by the human or they can be automated. If I'm talking about automation, it can be done via AI, or it can be done deterministic. Deterministic is just clear if this, then that statement. So if this is happening, then you must do this. There's no AI involved. And then you can map a bit of the definitions. And I'm curious if your agentic AI vision is a bit similar to this, but what we see is if you're automating the conversation in a via business rule way, then you got the chatbots, the old chatbots. In our experience, they don't really work that well. And why? What we see happening is in a lot of companies, the people that create the chatbot also create the self-service environment. But if a customer cannot do what he likes in the self-service environment, he goes to the chatbot, but the chatbot is being made by the same people, so they're in the same tunnel vision, so the same things cannot be done via the chatbot. So there's a handover to human agent, and what you see then is a lack in efficiency, a lack in customer satisfaction, and a lack in quality while technology was introduced. So basically, we do not advise to use chatbots because there is a lack of democratic decision-making in the process itself. If we're talking about the action, you can either use agentic AI or the business rule or the deterministic way. What we advise in general is if it's very easy, if you have a very simple backend system, then agentic AI is fine. If it's a bit more complicated, if you have multiple backend systems, then don't use AI for automating the action. There are two main reasons why we advise to use the business rule-based logic. First, it's the price. It's always cheaper to follow always the exact same rule, which is just written in a script. So where agentic AI is, let's say you have an address change, and you need to change the address in 5 different backend systems. You cannot, then it's cheaper just to say, okay, follow this script to change all the API calls or trigger the API calls in every different backend system. Then let an AI figure it out every time, again and again and again. Second is, so what I said before, is we specialize in highly regulated markets. It is very difficult to guarantee to an auditor, for example, that an agentic AI will always, without any deviation, will follow the exact same steps. It's so hard to do that. Well, if you are just strict business rules, it's really easy to show to an auditor that a process will always follow the same steps. So what we do, what we normally advise, if you're automating the conversation, use AI agents, not chatbots. And if you're automating actions, use workflows, use deterministic business rule-based workflows. This is something that we call hyperautomation. These two together, so automating the conversation and the workflow. That's something that we call hyperautomation. And basically it goes like this. a customer comes in with a question. It can be via voice, chat, or socials. It could also be via video, via a personal assistant, via your watch. It could be via in-app applications. There are all kinds of channels, but these are the main, the most salient ones. You'll be routed to either a human or an AI agent, or you're transferred from one to the other. We believe there should be three parties always that should be able to initiate a transfer between a human and an AI, or from AI to a human. That's first, the customer saying, I want to speak to a human. It should be the AI agent, like, I cannot answer this question, or I don't know, or I see that you're getting upset. I'm going to transfer you to a human. Or the agent himself, seeing that is overseeing the conversations and saying, hey, something is going wrong here. I am going to take over this call. So there always should be three parties that should be able, as a fallback, to do a transfer. Both the AI agent and the human agent should have access to the same tools. And this is a principle that we follow very strictly within Conigo. All the workflows that we have in our workflow orchestration tooling can be accessible by the AI and by the human. We do this for multiple reasons. First is you don't need to set up additional tooling to do the exact same thing, only for a different user. So if you have one workflow to change an address in 5 different backend systems, that can easily be done by the AI as by the human. The second thing is that we can guarantee that your AI agents can do the exact same thing as the human agents, and that you can choose deliberately yourself where you want to have an AI agent in place, instead of, so you can change the question of where can I to where do I want to have an AI agent. And that's a very important distinction. Also got a 360-degree view on your customer, so you know which customer you have in front of you. The knowledge base, of course, an answer suggestion. I will come back to those in a second. I already said a bit before, I do not like AI maturity models, because it suggests that, oh, if I do a bit more AI, then I have more value. I do not a bit more AI, then I have more value. But it goes a bit too far, in the sense it doesn't count on where do you want AI, or better yet, where do you don't want AI? Where is the human more important? So what we did is we created a 7 levels of hyperautomation. So 7 levels of automating the conversation and the workflow. On the far left, you got the human exclusive. That are the conversations where you don't want AI. I'll have an example in a second, but let's say, so we have an insurance company. They do they have the administrative stuff, changing addresses, changing an email address, updating a contract, extending a contract, these kind of things. But they also help you when somebody passes away. Well, if you get a phone call where someone says, yeah, my father or my wife just passed away, you do not want to hand that over to an AI, right? It's a very important one. You have the human there on the line. You want to show the empathy. You want to show a human. So that's where the human exclusive is. On the far right, we have the autonomous agents. That is where AI does everything, no human whatsoever needed. But the center part is the interesting part, in my opinion. So the first is called Agent Assist. I think this is the easiest. I think everybody knows this. You get a suggestion for an answer as an agent, and you can just say the answer, or you can write another answer, or you can do something else. And a summary is automatically created. Excuse me, just a zip. The second one is the gatekeeper. That's level 3. And the gatekeeper, it's a bit the voice routing on steroids. So not only can you gather the correct intent of the customer and route them to the right agent, you can also already ask some follow-up questions, and do customer verification. So you let an AI agent do the customer verification, and for example, for an address change, already ask what the new address is, for example. And then say, oh, can I already have your new address? Then I will hand you over to a human who will follow up with you. Then we're going to the human on the loop instead of human in the loop levels. So the first human on the loop level is called what we call the human authorizer. In this case, an AI is doing the entire conversation. So as a consumer, you're just talking to an AI. Then the AI is triggering a workflow, so it's triggering the action. But before, let's say, changing the address, it schedules a task for a human who needs to approve or disapprove the action. So if you have a customer that wants a new policy, for example, a new insurance policy or a new mortgage, then you can say, you can let the AI do all the work, then give the task to a human, say, is this approved or not? And then the human can do the final, has the final say in the whole process. It's really easy for auditing, for ISO regulations, for example, can show the regulations that you have the human in the loop for the actual conversation or the actual handling of something. The level 5 is what we call conditional autonomy. Conditional autonomy is where you say, okay, the AI can do the entire conversation. However, if the subject is, if we see that the consumer, if there's friction in the conversation, so the consumer gets angry, for example, or that we see that the human agent or the AI agent just doesn't know, we're going to initiate a handover to a human. So it's a really fast fallback to the human. That's basically what we do here. Then we got the proactive reviewer. And the proactive reviewer is in one way different from fully autonomous. At the end of the conversation, we ask with an AI, did the consumer really understand, or did the consumer really understood what the agent meant? Do we know 100% certain that everything is fine, that everything is taken care of, that all questions are answered? And this was inspired by a project that we did once for the tax office here in the Netherlands. It was a while back when I was working as a consultant. What we did is we just called back people that called a lot. So we call it the many caller analysis. We just made a list of everybody that called a lot. We, in the off-peak hours, we had a senior look into the file of that individual and then call the individual. So the individual sees a call from the tax office coming in. It's like his heart rate is going up, his adrenaline is going up. It's like, oh shit, what's going on? And then the agent is just like, hey, I was just wondering, can I help you with anything else? Is everything clear? What we saw happening is that customer satisfaction rose through the roof. Repeat traffic dropped to 0. And therefore, the business case was really easy to calculate. So what we see, what we see with hyperautomation and AI, the usage of AI is not black and white. So where we see a lot of people say, okay, you either don't use it, or you use agent assist, or you use fully autonomous AI agents. We don't really believe in it because it's really use case dependent. Here I got two conversation journeys just to illustrate the differences, and I took the gatekeeper and the human authorizer just to show you what the difference is in how the human is involved. So in this case, you see the customer comes in with a question, which is done all via AI. That's the blue part. Then the customer verification and the problem identification is done. It's being handed over to a human. The human gets via AI answer suggestions. In the end, the human resolves the question. The AI makes a summary, hands it over to the automation, and the automation is following up with the entire process. So here you can see that the AI is really doing the gatekeeping, then the human is, although assisted by AI, is really doing the conversation towards your customer. That is a difference with the human authorizer, where you can see the AI is doing the problem identification, the verification, but is also resolving the actual inquiry of the customer. It closes the conversation, makes also the summary, but hands it over to the automation software, where the human is in the loop. So the human is authorizing or is reviewing the workflow, is reviewing the input and says, yeah, this is approved or it's denied. And if it's denied, you can make an escalation procedure where something is being rejected. But this is again an example on how on such a conversation journey. So what I said before, we see this as it depends on where you want to use your AI or where you want to use your automation. It depends per use case. So what we did is we created a roadmap on how you can choose, or like a decision gate. We call them the decision gates that help you define what you want for which use case, for which intent of the customer. The first one is the emotional gate. Is the subject, is the caller, is it distressed, or is it a highly sensitive topic? So we were talking about life insurance before. So if you have a notice of a death, it's a highly sensitive subject. If you're talking with a lot with children, it's a highly sensitive subject. You don't want to use AI there. You want to have the human exclusive. By the way, human exclusive is mainly for the conversation part. It still can be automation in the back, but the conversation is completely human. The second gate is what we call the strategic gate. And in the strategic gate is you decide on how much of a USP do you want as the human to be, how much human touch do you want in your organization. So I gave the example before of a customer of us. They say, okay, our humans, our employees, they are our USP. We are not going to replace our humans, but we want to offer other people or the people that call outside of office hours to resolve their inquiries via AI or schedule a callback meeting for the day after. So instead of we're closed, you get an AI saying, hey, we can schedule something for tomorrow. So they're really doing it for the customer experience. I think that's a very good example of the strategic gate. The third one is the risk gate. Is there any risk involved if I do this, yes or not? If yes or no. So do I need, is it irreversible? If it's irreversible, you might want to have the human in the loop via a human authorizer, for example. The last one, the friction gate. Is there a opportunity that something causes friction? If a customer wants to change their address, yeah, there's not too much friction there. If a human wants to submit their metering for their energy company, there's not a lot of friction there. So you can use the autonomous agents. But if there is a possibility for friction, you might want to use a proactive reviewer level. I have here a few examples. So I have the notification of a death, I told them before, update of contact details, so address changes, email address changes, whatsoever. You can do the autonomous. Here's an example of the human authorizer, which is changing the beneficiary. This is also for an insurance company. If you want to change the beneficiary of your life insurance, there is some risk involved. So you end up with the human authorizer. It's not something that can be undone easily, or you want to have some control over it. That's it. So what I said, it's use case driven. So that means whatever your sector in which industry or vertical you're in, it's easy to map all kinds of use cases on these 7 levels. So if you're in the utility sector, shutting off a customer because he's not paying, you don't want to use AI there. You want to have a human in a loop that explains you that he's being cut off. Agent assist, then maybe payment plans. And why agent assist? Because you might want to do some extra sales in there and don't hand that over to an AI agent. While metering, yeah, that's something that you can do fully autonomous with autonomous agents. So per use case, you can decide on what you want to do. But that begs the question, which intents or which use cases do I have? That is something we have something we call the discovery scan. What we do, this is something that we do within Quantico. We put all the conversations that we have on one big pile, or that you have. So it could be calls, could be chats, could be emails. We put everything in one big pile and let algorithms figure out which intents are in there, which questions do customers have. This is not generative AI. This is purely algorithms that I told you before. I was a data scientist. These are NLP, natural language processing algorithms that we created that really map the different intents within the organization. Personally, I think this graph often becomes the most interesting. It might be a little bit small. We'll share the slides, so not a problem. But the x-axis, the horizontal axis, is the number of calls or number of conversations. The Y, the vertical axis, is how long does a conversation on average take, or average handling time. And the bigger the bubble, each bubble is one intent, is one question, specific question a customer has. The bigger the bubble, the more impact it has on your organization. So this graph would show me as an individual is saying that these four, and then these four, so these 8 in total, these intents have the biggest impact on my organization. So in this tool, what you can do is you can click on an intent, you get a summary of the intents, but you can also actually read or listen back to all the calls that are in there to figure out the root causes. But if you have these 8, so go back to putting everything together. If you have these 8 intents, you go through the decision gates for each of the 8 intents, and then you end up with a level for each intent, and you can see where you want to use AI, where you want to use automation, so deterministic, business rule-based automation, which is auditable, which is cheap, and where your human is irreplaceable. But this is what we call hyper-automation and how everything is being put together. And if you do that, the business case becomes the easiest part. And why? Because what we can actually see is exactly how many calls or how many conversations each intent is, how long it takes. So we have everything by numbers. And what we can then do is see, okay, if we use AI agents on certain parts, okay, the technological part will go up, but we might need less agents. And the agents that we have become more effective. So repeat traffic will go down, quality will go up, customer satisfaction will go up. But the business case is really easy to make because we have all the data, we have all the details, we can measure everything. So that was actually the main part of my talk for today. So I had a few yeah, I hope what you see is 3 takeaways. First, that AI is not black or white. There's a huge space in between, which is the most interesting. And there's a deliberate choice on where you want to use AI, where you want to use deterministic business rule-based workflows, and where the human touch is irreplaceable. And if you do that with a data-driven way, the business case becomes really easy. So then, yeah, my question to you, did we clear the fog, basically? Is it a bit clear on where you can start with AI and automation?
Actually,
I think this is a.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Dara.
yeah, for me it's very clear now. And but by the way, congratulations for you and for your company, because we didn't see Chidam, right? We didn't see this kind of documented processes in any other company. I'm sure they are working on something like these kind of workflows, but we didn't see them before. Right now, in our framework, we are pushing those companies to do this before choosing any model or before choosing any kind of application, AI application, or any kind of creating any kind of process. So you need to know your business and you need to know your workflows. You need to know where to put human in the loop or human over the loop. As you said, human on the loop. Yeah, it's a good thing. Congratulations for your company and you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is a great way to see the flow holistically. So your yeah, hyper automation. I mean, really show clearly that's not every step in the workflow should be treated with the same level of autonomy, actually. So the all framework, just a second, just a sorry for the interruption. Just a second.
Okay. By the way, Chidam is right now in Malaga. So
Yeah, sorry for interruption.
yeah,
My boys just asked some question. I interrupted. Yeah, I was just saying that so it should be treated with the same level of autonomy as I said that, and which is really good for us because in our framework as well, we also look at this through the AI first workflow design, which is basically the composition of the end-to-end process into micro flows, and then deciding which part should be AI assist, which part should be semi-autonomous or human controlled. So I have a question for you. From your perspective, what are the most important decision criteria for choosing the right autonomy level in the workflow? Is this mainly risk or customer emotion or strategic importance? What do you think about this, or the combination of these all?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the use case. So I think for so we are audited every year for everything, and then if I look at the auditing regulations, sometimes I think this is so unnecessary. It's just like a check in a database that something is passed, and then they're like, yeah, okay, then this is not needed. But for some, I think the auditing is very, very important. Like changing a beneficiary, yeah, you want to make sure that that goes correct. You don't want to you want to make sure that you're not changing the beneficiary of the wrong customer. Yeah, so there it's very important. So yeah, depends on the use
Thank you.
case, and I think that's one
Yeah.
of the main my main points and my main takeaways from today.
okay.
Thank you.
Are you done, Chidam? I have a futuristic question for Yaron.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So, in terms of technology, there are a couple of protocols, işte MCPs, A2A protocols, and maybe in the future, I think that feature is not that far. Some companies have agents, and some humans also have agents. Some customers have agents, and those agents call the contact centers and deal with the agents, AI agents with that contact center. So, what's your opinion about this?
Yeah, I think that will happen. I think that will definitely happen. So we had a talk show in the Netherlands a while back where an AI influencer was showing off OpenClaw. I don't know if you have seen OpenClaw,
Yeah,
which basically is you give AI access to everything, and you let them to do, or you're allowing them to do everything.
yeah,
And if if the AI cannot do it, it will make something. It will write code so that it is able to do something. So what they showed was uh, an, an AI that was able to make a reservation in a restaurant that did not have a form online. So the AI made an application so that he could call the restaurant to make a reservation for that night. What Judith, she's also in the call here, what she did was make a video with Robin, our other marketing individual, and they played the restaurant receiving all kinds of AI reservations. Yeah, we can really easily automate that. So I think that you will get AI talking to AIs in that sense. Yeah, that's for sure. There's also software already created that if an AI sees that it's talking to another AI, they start to talk in a very efficient.
Yeah, gibberish, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting to see.
Yeah. So are you done for the presentation? Do you have a demo or something like that?
Yeah, we do have some demos.
Okay.
Let's see what demos. Let's see. Share. I was. Do you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, this is IDA. So real quick, these are a few agents that we created for a utility company. So meter reading, callback, scheduler, changing contracts, changing the monthly payment, for example. All the conversations come in here, so we can see. So if I call, then they will end up here. So you can see the exact conversation that happened. By the way, if you see something that's called redacted, that's our personal identifiable information removal, seeing that we don't need the information of the individual to show a conversation. We are required by law to remove it. So we don't need it, we need to remove it. So
Yeah, it's a good thing. I think AI Act demands that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't need it, you need to remove it. What you see here happening, the yellow and the blue, that's our intent recognition and agent performance. So it automatically sees what the intents are, for example. Yeah, and you can go through all the conversations, read summaries. This is all automatic. You can schedule intent recognition. So this is what you want to recognize. This is what you want to recognize for the performance of your agents. And we have the AI agents. That's call one. So I'll do it first in English, but then
Okay.
I have Sadiq here, and he can also call the exact same one. So there's nothing changed. There's not saying talk in Turkish now, but he can do it in Turkish. What I want to show that it's multilingual. Then I need the number, and hope you can hear it. I would like to ask you to be a bit quiet because it is a bit sensitive to background noise.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome to Quandago. You are speaking with Ida. Nice that you are interested in a demo. Who am I speaking?
That's the wrong one. That is someone there was an AI agent that I give you the number and then you can call them yourself. So whoever likes to try it, they can call it themselves. I think this is the one.
Welcome to the telephone service for submitting meter readings. You are speaking with Angela, the AI. Could you please tell me your phone number?
Hi, yes, my phone number is 555-0116.
Thank you. Just to confirm, I heard your phone number as 555-0116. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
I'm now retrieving your customer details and meter information. This will just take a moment. I found your previous meter reading of 3,500. Could you please provide the new meter reading?
3,700.
You said the new meter reading is 3,700. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm now validating and updating your meter reading. This will just take a short moment. Your meter reading has been successfully submitted with a consumption of 200 units.
So as you can see, via business logic, we did the customer verification. So in this case, it was a phone number, but we can do it on any record, basically, postal code and house number, customer number, all these kinds of things. And we changed, in this case, the meter reading from 3,500 to 3,700.
Yeah, it's a good thing because we heard lots of AI voice agents, and we didn't see any demo with the process like this. You said something and it updated in the document as well. It's a good thing, yeah. So we can do this in Turkish, right?
Yeah, Sadiq, can you try?
Sadık selam.
Aleykümselam, merhabalar.
And maybe could you, Dora, can you name a number so that you know
Okay.
I'm not cheating? So just say which row number should Sadiq update?
Yeah. 555-0110. The line
Which-
10.
Okay, yeah,
Grandma.
yeah, I see it. Okay, I will give it a go.
Welcome to the telephone service for submitting meter readings. You are speaking with Angela the AI. Could you please provide your phone number so I can assist you with your meter reading submission?
Evet, benim telefon numaram 555-0110.
Anladığım kadarıyla telefon numaranız 555-01-0110. Doğru mu?
Hayır, 555-0110.
Anladım. Telefon numaranız 555-0110. Doğru mu?
Evet, doğru.
Bilgilerinizi kontrol ediyorum. Lütfen bir an bekleyin.
Tamam.
Önceki sayaç oku. Şimdi lütfen yeni sayaç okuma değerinizi bana söyleyin.
7600 kilowatt saat.
Yeni sayaç değerinizi 7600 kilowatt saat olarak anladım. Doğru mu?
Aynen, doğru.
Onaylama işlemi devam ediyor. Lütfen bir an bekleyin. Yeni okuma değeri sisteme iletildi. Ancak önceki değere göre yüksek bir fark var. Lütfen bu tüketimi kontrol edip onaylar mısınız?
Evet, kontrol ettim, doğru.
Teşekkür ederim. Kaydınız başarıyla tamamlandı. Başka bir konuda
Yeah, so that was the Turkish version, and you can also hear that he could see the big difference between the first one and the second one. So he also asked another question like, "Hey, is this correct? Are you sure this is correct?" Because there's a big difference between those two.
Yeah. Thank you for the demo.
It's the exact same number. There's no other configuration whatsoever. And as I said, we can see what two calls made here. These are the numbers that we just called. So this is the Turkish one and the IH one, including agent metrics and intent recognition.
Yes, perfect. Thank you for the presentation and for the demo.